Hey, what is going on, everyone? Today we will be reacting to another BuzzFeed video, this time on servers' biggest pet peeves of the guest. Okay, this should be fun, so let's just jump straight into this.
I've watched someone dump red Tabasco on pancakes before.
That's disgusting.
I feel like that might be nice.
Yeah, I have the same reaction.
Like,
this should be fun, guys. It's gonna be fun.
The worst is when a customer just interrupts you. It's like, hi, my name is Diet Coke.
I gotta love those Diet Coke lovers.
Like, okay. And then you just don't say anything, you just walk away and get the Diet Coke.
and then they're like, coffee, and you go, do you want cream and sugar? And they're like, yeah. I'm like, oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, this only happened to me once. It's really rare, but some people will look at you as if like it's obvious. Hey, you might take your coffee black. How do I know? I'm just doing the polite thing of asking. But yeah, that's hilarious.
Then I ask, like, I don't want to waste the cream if you don't drink it.
There are certain customers who think that you're their only table, and
Snapper.
so
I call these people the entitled guests.
Snapper.
Like, if you click at me,
Oh man, if you ever snap at me, I'll just ask, hey, there's no reason to snap at me. Like, but man, we're forced to be so nice to you guys. So please treat us like human beings. Please be nice.
like, wherever you were on my priority list, you just went to the bottom.
Yeah, you've now just dropped to literally last place.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, so usually we have like anywhere between 1 to like 8 tables. So if you're being a douchebag table, guess what? You're not being prioritized as much, because why are we gonna keep putting in our effort if we're probably gonna get a lousy tip out of it? So be nice to your servers, guys.
It's so rude. Don't snap at somebody. I'm not your servant.
Experience.
Yeah, I'll get you Diet Coke.
or they wave you down like a dog. Yep.
Over here.
Over here.
Sometimes when people wave at me and I'm like at another table, I just wave back.
I'm gonna tell my employees to do that. If someone waves at you, just wave back at them. And then you just go to their table later. That's so funny.
I'm doing.
Or they don't remember your name, so they say like, "Hey, you."
Yeah, that's very disrespectful.
I've had people straight up yell at me from across the restaurant, and I'm just like, I didn't hear you. I'm gonna go do something else.
Somebody orders something, how do you want it cooked, you know? Well done, rare, da, 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 da. So they'll ask for it well done. If it comes out well done, it's too well done. You asked for it that way. So I'll remake it a little less well done this time. It's not cooked enough.
I swear, this act, just like his facial expression, I swear this actually happens so commonly in a restaurant. People will ask for well done and then complain how hard it is to chew. Or look it up on Google or ask your server how it's gonna turn out. But you should know this before going into the restaurant.
You kidding me?
You come into a place, you have allergies to certain things, and it's like, why come here? You know, I've had people who've had gluten allergies, flour allergies, bread allergies. You come into a pizza restaurant, you know, you can't have flour, you can't have gluten, you can't have cheese. I mean, because they give you ice cubes.
Just like,
I'm so sorry, but that's so true. I've had a guest come in with like a celiac allergy, a citrus allergy, a seafood allergy. Like, this guest was allergic to everything. I went to the kitchen. I literally circled on the menu everything that the guest can have, and there's only like 3 items, and that's after making edits to the menu. I go to the guest, show these circled items, and the guest is like, can you make the burger work out? And in my head, I'm like, it's not circled. I asked the chef. I went out of my way to make it so easy for them, and they still made it difficult by not choosing the things I circled for them. It's like, come on, like, why are you even going out in the first place? But I get it, you all have a right to go out. So if you do have an allergy, just let your server know or the supervisor, and they'll do their best to give you good options. But just don't complain of those options if you already have allergies and you're going to a limited restaurant. That's all I'm saying.
watching the insane ways that people eat their food.
But they also love eating and showing you what's in their mouth. Like they'll start eating, they'll pull you over and like, more coffee, and you're like, oh my God, I didn't want to see that.
You know, everyone always
No, that's never happened to me. Yeah, I don't know where these two have worked, so.
complains about how like the server always comes up when my mouth is full. We're doing it on purpose. Like I want to say like 8 times out of 10 we're doing it on purpose so that we can just get the head nod that everything's okay and then run.
You do have to do a food check while they're eating 2 minutes after they get the food. So just catch them in between a bite before they're about to take their next bite and just ask them, is everything okay? And they can either nod their head and be like, yeah, it's good. And then that way you don't have to check for that table for another like 5-10 minutes.
All about families going out and enjoying their time together. But if your kid is a f***ing maniac and a disaster and throwing shit all over the place and you got spaghetti on the floor and ketchup hanging from the f***ing ceiling, I understand it's our job to clean the restaurant and stuff, but at least pick up after your kids. Don't let them create mayhem and then just walk away and be like, all right, later. And then not tip either.
I always
Please control your kids. Please. You don't know how many times I've seen kids just run all over the restaurant, disrupting other people's peaceful evening. Just control your kids. Or if you know your kids are like that, find a way to get a babysitter, do something, because have like some empathy for like these employees and servers that are working hard and these other guests. Don't be selfish. But yeah, we'll gladly clean after your kids.
give the customers napkins when
Maybe not gladly, but we'll clean after your kids.
I see that stuff. I'm like, oh, here you guys go.
Rude people, man. Very impatient.
The impatience thing with me is a big one when people try and slip you money and expect to get a table faster, or if they hit on you and it's like, why do you think that I would like that? But one guy actually did slip me a 20 once and he was like, oh, please, my family's super hungry. And I was like, I'm gonna keep this because I work a minimum wage job, but the wait is not going to change.
I've had people.
That's so funny. But she could get in trouble for that if the guest complains, hey, I gave this person $20 and I didn't get my food on time. She took a bribe. Like, that can go really wrong. So it's $20 is not worth my job.
Screaming at me. I've been called a bitch over eggs. And I just looked at her and went, I'm gonna go grab my manager. Like,
I love grabbing the manager.
I don't need to do this anymore. I don't need to take this from you.
We have a really big menu at my restaurant. They don't even open it. They just sit there and it's like, what's good here? It's like, well, we have a lot of stuff if you want to go ahead and open the menu.
They call you over and you're like busy as hell.
Honestly, no, I wouldn't say that. Like, come on. Help the guests go through the menu, have that standard as a server. You should be helpful to them. You should guide them through the menu, if they want that guidance. That's part of your job to know the menu knowledge very well. If they haven't opened the menu, they're letting you know. Maybe they're spontaneous guests and they want to hear the specials for the day, or they want to hear what your favorite meal is, and they'll hear your opinion and then maybe they'll look at the menu after. So no, don't do that.
And they're like, do you have nachos?
Do you have burgers? It's like, yes, it's under the burger section inside the menu.
Page of burgers.
Do you have tacos?
Like, what do you have to drink? It's like, it's on our beverage pages.
Do you have PBR? No, guys, it's in front of you. And sometimes when it's busy, I'm like, you can read it, I'll be right back.
Just open the menu, please. Please, God.
Finally, they decide to read it.
Okay, so if they're looking at the menu and waiting for, you're waiting for them, just tell them, hey, I'll come back in a couple minutes just to take your beverage order, and they'll be okay with that. But if you tell them this, and they're like, oh no, I know what I want to order, they'll just order it right away. So that's a good way to get out of that.
When you drop stuff at the table and they ask you for something else and you go back to get it, and then you come back and then they ask for another thing, and then you go back and they're like,
No, this is probably my biggest pet peeve. I literally had to go get some ketchup, okay, come back, get some mustard, come back, and they ask for mayo. Why don't you just tell me to get all this at the same time? But now when this happens, I learn from my mistake. I just tell them when I drop the food, is there anything else I can get for you before I leave? And that way they'll say, okay, can you get me some mayo? Okay, I'll write down mayo. Then I'll tell them, is there anything else I can get for you? And they'll say no, okay, if they don't want anything. So that's a good way of just avoiding multiple trips.
and I'm like, is there anything else I can get you before I leave the table? And then all their friends think of things too. And then you leave one more time and they're like, oh, I'm so sorry, we forgot salt and pepper. And I'm like, I'm gonna put these salt and peppers up your nose.
The customer comes to the restaurant. There's a wait for a certain section. If it's nice out, they want to sit outside. There's a wait outside, but if you want, you can sit inside and eat right away. So say it's an hour wait. So they go walk around, come back in an hour, and then they'll get their table. But then after the meal is done, they'll come and complain that they want a discount on their check because they had to wait so long. You knew the deal when you came in. I told you straight up, it's gonna be an hour wait. You could have sat inside like I told you and ate right away.
People love to complain to get free stuff.
I'm getting sweaty because
Yeah, if you're a guest and you complain, it is so easy to tell whether you deserve the complaint or not. If you're complaining, we can tell if it's genuine or not. Like, people just complain for the sake of complaining to get free things. And honestly, I will do my best not to give you something for free if you're complaining for that reason. But if you're in the right and we messed up from our end, I will do everything in my power to make your experience better and turn that service failure into a service recovery for you to enjoy the rest of your evening, night, breakfast, whatever it is.
I work in Santa Monica. It's the homeless problem. It's always.
I just wanted to make one comment with this guy. I love this guy's shirt, The Fresh Prince. If you guys watch The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, one of my favorite shows with Will Smith, Vegeta from Dragon Ball Z is called Prince Vegeta. I love that shirt.
Like a homeless guy at least once a month walking into our restaurant.
Also, families that come in who are feuding or not having a good night, and it just kind of translates over to your job. They're being really loud and causing problems for other like customers and stuff. We've had couples come in and break up at the table and you're just like, can I get you more water?
This literally, what she said literally happened 2 months ago at my restaurant, where a couple came in and they literally broke up at the table. And the woman, I felt so bad, she was crying. And then she left, and then now the guy was just on his phone FaceTiming another girl. It was insane. And then also at the same time, there was a guy at the bar and a meeting with no headphones on, and we're about to start our live entertainment. Had to ask him multiple times to like put his headphones on. So yeah, these things do happen, honestly.
Guy who was probably around my age came in and he got really drunk with all his friends. He said something really inappropriate to me. He was like, oh, it's really cold. Can you move the heater? I was like, sorry, we can't move. And he was like, can I have your jacket? I was like, sorry, it's my uniform. He's like, can you sit on my face?
Oh my God.
And I chewed him out and his friends were like, what's going on? What's going on? And I was like, this is what he just said to me. And he had like a couple of girlfriends in the group and they were like, kidding me? Like, and he got told and I was just like, and he's like, I'm so sorry. And he kept apologizing. I was like, dude, like, you can't talk to people like that. That's so inappropriate.
It's not funny.
Yeah, people do it all the time.
Yeah, just remember your servers are forced to be kind to you. So even when you're treating them bad or mistreating them, so if you ever disrespect them, you know, she has the right to tell you, like, I don't tolerate disrespect, and just create that barrier. Don't feel like you're too nice or you're forced to be too nice in that position. You can set your barriers and say no when you have to.
You can talk to me, but I don't appreciate you like really outwardly flirting with me when I'm trying to do my job, especially since I've worked behind a bar as well. I think guys, you never really know what their end game is if they're hitting on you from behind the bar, because you're like, I clearly have a job to do. And then they get kind of angry if you're like not giving them all your attention, flirting back.
Oh, shit, you lucky. I don't get hit on.
No, I wouldn't call that lucky.
This guy's like, hey, you're lucky. You're getting hit on. I wish I could get hit on. I've had guests hit on me and I just ignore it, and if that doesn't work, I just say, hey, I'm not really comfortable with that, and then, you know, just move on.
When they go out to eat, they order everything. They'll get 2 appetizers, they'll get the most expensive courses, and they'll get desserts, and they'll just run up a fucking tab, but then not tip. I don't get it. Like, if you couldn't afford to spend all that, like, you have to factor in the tip. This is, I feel like, the number one pet peeve. It's a given. But don't go spending $300 if you can't tip.
Okay, I'll say a couple things on this. As a server, you shouldn't expect every single table to tip you, honestly, because they don't have to tip you if they don't feel like you had good service. Obviously, it's not going to be the case most of the time. It's very rare when someone doesn't tip you. But when you go to your job, just have the expectation that you'll have a couple tables not tip you. That way you won't be disappointed when they actually don't tip you. So just have that expectation in your head. It's not Christmas every day. You know, someone once told me that. I love that quote. And it really depends on the person, where they're coming from, their circumstances. Maybe they're coming from a place in their home country where it's not, you know, it's frowned upon to tip. You know, you just never know. You never know. So don't get disappointed and let that piss you off. It happens. Now, if you go through a whole night where you don't get tipped, there's something you're probably doing wrong.
Or when they leave a verbal tip. We like to call it verbal tips, where they like pat you on the shoulder and they're like, you did a great job, or like, you're the best server I ever had. And then they like don't leave very much tip, and you're like, oh, so you just, that to you was your tip. No, I know that I'm good at my job. I don't need your validation. Give me your money though. That's what I need from you.
Tip accordingly to that food and for the time that you spent there. If you spend $100 in 30 minutes, it's like, I get it. You can tip me 10 bucks, whatever. But if you are there for 3 hours, it's like you should triple that at least.
Exactly, you have to, because you're taking away from...
Yeah, you're taking away from other tables
exactly.
and money that we could get.
Yes and no. yes, in terms of like, yeah, you're staying long and you're making the server work more. I guess they deserve more tip. They don't know that. As a guest, you may be sitting for 2 hours. It passes by so quickly. You're not even thinking about the server like that. You see your bill and you just want to tip them maybe that regular 15%. That's fair to me, honestly.
All the bad years that I've experienced in the restaurant business, I've also met a lot of incredible people as well.
100%.
Which somehow balanced out all of the bullshit.
As a customer, just be polite and I will be polite back.
And it makes our job more fun if you get to know us, then let us get to know you, and not in a flirty way.
I have made the most incredible friends through working in the service industry because like you have to have a backbone.
I like how they're sharing their good experiences now, because you do find a lot of amazing guests. So trust me, it does balance out like what they say. Yeah, I agree with that.
To be able to do it.
Oh my God, do you have to have a backbone?
I'm more worried about you if you treat me with respect. I'm not your slave. I work there for minimum wage plus tips.
We live off tip.
Put that in your brain and cement it there forever.
Let's all relax and stop treating us like we're there to do your bidding, because we're not.
Don't be a dick.
There you have it. That is my reaction to servers sharing their biggest pet peeves.